The massive space station hung in the darkness above the blue and green planet called Kepler 442. These metal walls stretched for miles in every direction, filled with beings from across the galaxy. Today was an important day. The Galactic Defense Council was meeting to decide if Earth could join their group. Dr. Elena Rodriguez walked down the long hallway toward the meeting room. Her black shoes clicked on the smooth floor with each step. She wore her best blue uniform, the one with all her medals and badges. Behind her walked Captain Jake Miller, a Navy SEAL from Earth. His face looked calm, but Elena knew he was ready. For anything, the meeting room was huge. 12 different types of aliens sat around a circular table that glowed with soft light. Some looked like insects with big eyes and sharp claws. Others appeared to be made of crystal that sparkled and changed colors. A few looked like they were made of pure energy, floating above their chairs. At the head of the table sat Commander Zeth. He was tall and thin, made of clear crystal that looked like glass. Light moved through his body in waves of blue and purple. When he spoke, his voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "Welcome, humans," Commander Zeth said. His crystal form grew brighter as he looked at Elena and Jake. "We have been watching your planet for some time. Today we will decide if Earth is ready to join our alliance." Elena stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Thank you for this chance, Commander. Earth is ready to prove we belong here." The aliens around the table began to make strange sounds. Some clicked their teeth together. Others buzzed like angry bees. A few made electronic beeping noises. Elena realized they were laughing at her. Admiral Crick spoke next. He looked like a giant praying mantis with 4 arms and green skin that shined like metal. His voice was sharp and cutting. "Your planet amuses us, human. We have studied your wars and your weapons. You still use bullets and bombs. How primitive." "Your soldiers are weak," added General Vex. He wore thick armor that covered his entire body. Only his glowing red eyes could be seen through his helmet. "They have no special powers. No telepathy, no energy weapons. They cannot even fly without machines." Elena felt her face get hot with anger, but she kept her voice steady. "Our soldiers may not have special powers, but they are well-trained and brave." This made the aliens laugh even louder. Commander Zeth's crystal body flashed bright white. "Brave? Child, bravery means nothing when facing superior technology. Your people fight with sticks and stones compared to us?" A new voice joined the conversation. Ambassador Silo looked like a ball of golden light floating in the air. When she spoke, her words seemed to come from everywhere at once. "We have weapons that can destroy entire planets. We have shields that stop any attack. We have soldiers who can read minds and see the future. What do your people have?" Jake Miller had been quiet this whole time. Now he stepped forward. His voice was calm and strong. "We have something you might not understand. We have the will to never give up." The aliens made their laughing sounds again. Commander Zeth leaned toward Jake. "Will? What use is will against plasma cannons and force fields? Your special forces are a joke compared to our elite warriors." "Our chorus soldiers can lift 10 tons with their bare hands," General Vex said proudly. "Our Thrix fighters can predict enemy movements before they happen. Our Vorthan warriors can become invisible at will. What can your humans do?" Elena looked around the room at all the alien faces staring at them. Some looked curious, but most looked like they thought humans were children playing at being soldiers. She made a decision that would change everything. "Perhaps a demonstration would be better than words," Elena said. The room became very quiet. Commander Zeth's crystal form dimmed slightly. "A demonstration? You wish to test your primitive soldier against our advanced training scenarios?" "Yes," Elena said firmly. "Let Captain Miller show you what human soldiers can do." The aliens looked at each other. Some made quiet clicking sounds. Others flashed different colors. Admiral Crix moved his 4 arms in what might have been a shrug. "This should be entertaining," he said. "Very well. We will prepare a basic infiltration test. If your human can complete it, perhaps we will take your application more seriously." "General." Vex's red eyes glowed brighter. The test is designed for our elite forces. Beings with enhanced strength, psychic powers, and natural armor. Your human will fail within minutes. The scenario takes place on a hostile world, explained Ambassador Sila. There are energy barriers, automated defenses, and enemy soldiers with advanced weapons. The goal is simple: get in, steal information, and get out without being caught. Commander. Zeth stood up, his crystal form reaching toward the ceiling. Our own special forces need hours to complete this test, and they have advantages your human cannot imagine. Are you certain you want to proceed? Elena looked at Jake. He gave her a small nod. His eyes were steady and confident. We accept your test, Elena said. The aliens made their laughing sounds again, but this time they seemed excited. They had not expected the humans to actually agree to the challenge. Excellent, Commander Zeth said. We will prepare the simulation chamber. This will be most amusing. Perhaps after your soldier fails, you will understand why Earth is not ready to join civilized species. As the aliens began to leave the meeting room, Elena heard them talking among themselves in their strange languages. She caught a few words. That the universal translator turned into English: primitive, hopeless, and entertaining failure. Jake put his hand on her shoulder. Don't worry, Doc. They have no idea what they're in for. Elena smiled for the first time since entering the station. No, Captain, they really don't. The test would begin in 1 hour. The aliens thought they were about to watch a human fail spectacularly. Instead, they were about to learn their first lesson about humanity. Never underestimate someone who has spent their whole life turning impossible situations into victories. The simulation chamber was the size of a football field. Jake Miller stood at the entrance, looking at the massive room that would become his testing ground. The walls, floor, and ceiling were covered in millions of tiny lights that could create any environment the aliens wanted. Beginning terrain generation, announced a mechanical voice that echoed through the chamber. The empty room began to change. The floor rose and fell to create hills and valleys. Walls grew up from the ground to form buildings. Trees and rocks appeared out of nowhere. In just a few minutes, Jake was looking at a hostile alien world under a red sky with 2 moons in. The center of the new landscape stood a fortress made of black metal. It had tall walls, guard towers, and energy barriers that glowed bright blue. Jake could see robot sentries walking along the walls, their red eyes scanning for threats. This was where he needed to go. Elena stood in the observation room above the chamber with all the alien council members. Through the thick glass windows, she could see Jake checking his equipment one last time. He had his rifle, some grenades, a knife, and basic communication gear. Compared to the advanced alien technology around them, his weapons looked like toys. The objective is simple, Commander Zeth explained to Elena. His crystal body was glowing with excitement. Your human must infiltrate the compound, reach the central data vault, retrieve the intelligence files, and escape without triggering the alarm system. Admiral Crix clicked his mandibles together. The defenses include energy shields that can stop our most powerful weapons. The automated sentries have sensors that can detect heat, movement, and even heartbeats from great distances. The enemy soldiers inside are holographic projections of our elite warriors, added General Vex. They move and fight exactly like real Korath, Thrix, and Vorthan troops. They will not hesitate to kill any intruder. Ambassador Sila's golden light flickered with amusement. Our own special forces teams usually take 6 hours to complete this scenario, and they often suffer casualties. Your human has primitive equipment and no enhanced abilities. This will be over quickly. Elena watched as Jake moved toward the fortress. He stayed low and used the artificial rocks and trees for cover. To the aliens, his movements probably looked slow and clumsy. They were used to soldiers who could run faster than cars or turn invisible. Why is he moving so slowly? Asked Admiral Crix. Our warriors would have reached the walls by now. He appears to be studying the defenses, observed Commander Zeth. But what can he possibly learn that our sensors have not already told us? Jake spent 20 minutes just watching the fortress. He noted how the guards moved when the energy barriers flickered and where the automated sentries had blind spots. The aliens grew impatient as he remained hidden behind a large boulder. "Is he afraid?" General Vex asked with scorn. "Perhaps humans are not as brave as your diplomat claimed." Elena bit her tongue to keep from responding. She knew Jake was not afraid, he was thinking. Human soldiers were taught to study their enemies and find weaknesses. The aliens seemed to rely on brute force and superior technology instead of careful planning. Finally, Jake began to move. But instead of approaching the main gate like the aliens expected, he headed toward the side of the fortress where a small drainage pipe led under the wall. The pipe was barely large enough for a human to crawl through. "What is he doing?" "Ambassador," Scylla asked. "That drainage system is too small for any of our warriors to use." "Perhaps that is the point," Elena said quietly. Jake disappeared into the pipe. The aliens watched their sensors, trying to track his movement underground. The fortress. Defenses were designed to stop attacks from above ground or from the air. Nobody had considered someone might crawl through the sewage system. "This is ridiculous," Admiral Crick said. "A real warrior would face the defenses head-on, not crawl through filth like a worm," Elena smiled. "Different species, different tactics." Inside the fortress, Jake emerged from the drainage pipe in a utility room filled with pipes and machinery. The holographic enemy soldiers were patrolling the main corridors, but they had not thought to guard the maintenance areas. Human buildings had similar blind spots, and Jake knew how to find them. He moved through the fortress like a ghost. While the alien defenders watched the main entrances and obvious routes, Jake used ventilation shafts, service tunnels, and crawl spaces that their larger, more powerful warriors could not access. "How is he avoiding our sensors?" General Vex demanded. "Our detection systems are the most advanced in the galaxy." "Your systems are designed to find alien soldiers," Elena explained. "Humans are smaller and produce less heat. We also learned to move very quietly because we had to hunt animals much larger and stronger than us." Jake reached the central data vault without triggering a single alarm. The vault was protected by multiple layers of security, laser grids, pressure plates, and quantum locks that should have been impossible to bypass without the proper codes. But Jake did not try to crack the codes or disable the security systems. Instead, he studied the vault's construction and noticed that the heavily protected front door was not the only way in. The vault had air vents for cooling the computer systems inside. The vents were too small for any alien warrior, but just large enough for a human. "Impossible," whispered Commander Zeth as Jake disappeared into the ventilation system. "No warrior has ever attempted such an approach. Your warriors are too big and proud to crawl through air ducts," Elena said. "Humans will use any path that gets us to our goal." Jake emerged inside the vault and quickly downloaded the intelligence files to his equipment. The hardest part of his mission was complete, but now he had to escape. The aliens expected him to retrace his steps, but Jake had other plans. Instead of running away, he began moving toward the fortress command center. The alien observers watched in confusion as their prey suddenly became the predator. Jake was no longer trying to avoid the enemy soldiers. He was hunting them. "What is he doing now?" Admiral Crix asked nervously. "He should be fleeing." Elena leaned forward to get a better view. "He is about to show you something new." Jake moved through the fortress corridors like a shadow. The alien observers watched in growing confusion as he did things no warrior in their experience had ever attempted. Instead of fighting his way out with the stolen data, he was moving deeper into the enemy stronghold. "This makes no tactical sense," Admiral Crick said, his forearms twitching nervously. "He has completed the primary objective. Why is he not extracting?" Elena watched Jake disappear around a corner on the security monitors. She was beginning to understand his plan, and it made her both proud and worried. "He is not thinking like your warriors think." Jake found what he was looking for in the fortress engineering section. The main power generator hummed quietly in a room filled with glowing control panels. The holographic enemy soldiers had not thought to guard it heavily because no sane warrior would waste time on infrastructure during an infiltration mission, but Jake was not interested in fighting the enemy. He was interested in controlling their environment. He studied the power grid for 5 minutes, tracing the energy lines with his finger on the display screens. The fortress ran on a central power system that fed electricity to the walls, weapons, sensors, and life support. Everything was connected. "What is he doing in the power room?" General Vex asked. "Is he trying to shut down the facility?" "Not shut down," Elena said quietly. "Something else." Jake began working on the power control systems. He did not try to turn anything off. Instead, he started redirecting the energy flows in ways the alien designers had never considered. He sent power from the weapon systems to the sensors. He rerouted shield energy to the communications array. He created feedback loops that made the computer systems work harder than they were designed to. In the observation room, warning lights began flashing on the alien control panels. "The fortress systems are experiencing malfunctions," reported Commander Zeth, his crystal form flickering with concern. "Multiple cascading failures throughout the facility." "How is this possible?" Admiral Crix demanded. "Our systems have redundant safeguards against power failures," Elena smiled. "Your safeguards protect against power going out. They do not protect against power being used in the wrong ways." The fortress began to fall apart from the inside. The energy shields flickered and died as their power was diverted to useless systems. The automated sentries stopped moving as their batteries drained faster than they could recharge. The holographic enemy soldiers started disappearing as the projection systems overloaded, but Jake was not finished. He moved to the Fortress Communication Center, where alien technology managed all the defensive systems. Here he found something the aliens had not expected him to understand. Their own computer networks. Human computers worked differently than alien ones, but the basic principles were the same. Information flowed through networks, and networks could be manipulated if you knew what you were doing. Jake had trained on captured alien technology. Before this mission, he plugged his simple human tablet into their advanced alien computers. The aliens in the observation room watched in disbelief as their sophisticated systems began responding to primitive human commands. "Impossible," whispered Ambassador Sila. "Our quantum computers are protected by encryption that would take thousands of years to break." "He is not breaking your encryption," Elena explained. "He is not even trying to. He is doing something else entirely." Jake was not hacking the alien computers in any way they understood. Instead, he was using their own programming against them. The Fortress computers were designed to respond to legitimate commands from authorized users. Jake had found a way to make the system think he was an authorized user. He did this by studying how the holographic enemy soldiers moved and acted. They followed predictable patterns because they were programmed to behave like real alien warriors. Jake recorded these patterns and fed them back into the system, convincing the computers that he was just another soldier following orders. The fortress defenses began treating Jake as a friendly unit instead of an enemy intruder. Doors opened for him automatically. Security cameras looked away when he approached. Even the remaining automated sentries ignored him completely. "He has turned our own systems against us," General Vex said in amazement. "How did he learn our command protocols?" "He did not learn them," Elena said. "He tricked your computers into teaching him." Jake walked through the fortress like he owned it. The alien technology that was supposed to stop him was now helping him. He reached the main exit without firing a single shot or triggering any alarms. The stolen intelligence data was still safely stored in his equipment, but instead of leaving, Jake stopped at the fortress gate and turned around. He looked directly at the security camera that was watching him and smiled. Then he did something that made every alien in the observation room fall silent. He waved goodbye. "He is mocking us," Admiral Crix said quietly. "No," Elena said. "He is saying hello." Jake activated his communication device and spoke to the aliens watching him. "Test complete. Intelligence retrieved. 0 casualties. 0 alarms triggered. Fortress defenses neutralized. Ready for extraction." The simulation chamber began shutting down around him. The artificial landscape faded away, leaving only empty walls covered in tiny lights. Jake stood in the center of the room, looking completely relaxed. Commander Zeth was the first alien to speak. In 6 hours, your human accomplished what our elite forces require days to achieve. And he did it without advanced technology, enhanced abilities, or superior firepower. How? Asked General Vex. Elena looked around the room at all the alien faces staring at her. Some looked confused. Others looked worried. A few looked frightened. You designed your test to challenge alien thinking, she said. But Jake does not think like an alien, he thinks like a human. We do not fight the battle our enemy expects. We fight the battle that gives us the advantage. Admiral Crix made a sound like grinding metal. What advantage? He was outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched. In every way, exactly, Elena said. That is the only kind of fight humans know how to win. The aliens in the observation room stared at the empty simulation chamber in complete silence. Jake Miller stood calmly in the center, checking his equipment as if he had just finished a routine training exercise. The test that was supposed to prove human weakness had instead shown something the aliens had never seen before. Commander Zeth was the first to break the silence. His crystal form had dimmed to almost clear, a sign of deep confusion among his people. Run the simulation again? There must have been an error in the programming. Sir, replied the station computer in its mechanical voice, all systems functioned perfectly. The human subject completed the infiltration scenario in 3 hours and 47 minutes with 0 detection events. Admiral Crix's mandibles clicked rapidly, a nervous habit of his species. 3 hours? Our fastest team took 6 hours and they lost 2 warriors in the process. General Vex stood up from his chair, his heavy armor making loud clanking sounds. This is impossible. The human had no advantages. No enhanced strength, no telepathy, no energy weapons. How did he succeed where our elite forces struggle? Elena felt a surge of pride watching the alien confusion. Perhaps you should ask him yourself. The aliens looked at each other uncertainly. In their cultures, warriors were either victorious or defeated. There was no middle ground. But Jake had not just won. He had made their advanced technology look foolish. Bring the human to the debriefing room, Commander Zeth ordered. We must understand how this was accomplished. Jake was escorted to a smaller room filled with holographic displays and recording equipment. The 12 alien council members sat in a semicircle looking like judges preparing to question a prisoner. But their usual confidence was gone, replaced by uncertainty and curiosity. Explain your tactics, Admiral Crix demanded. Our analysis shows you used no advanced combat techniques. You did not engage in direct fighting. You avoided our strongest defenses entirely. Jake sat down in the human-sized chair they had provided. He looked completely relaxed, as if he was having a casual conversation instead of being interrogated by the most powerful military minds in the galaxy. You are right, Jake said simply. I avoided your strongest defenses because they were your strongest defenses. Why would I attack where you expected me to attack? General Vex leaned forward. Because a true warrior faces challenges head-on. Victory through strength and courage, not through hiding and trickery. A different definition of victory, Jake replied. You see victory as defeating the enemy in combat. I see victory as completing the mission with minimal risk and maximum efficiency. Ambassador Sila's golden light flickered with interest. But where is the honor in avoiding battle? How can you prove your worth without facing danger? Jake smiled. Ma'am, I have been in plenty of dangerous battles, but this was not a battle. This was a problem that needed solving. You gave me a fortress to infiltrate, so I infiltrated it. You did not ask me to fight every guard or prove how tough I was. Commander Zeth processed this information. You approached our military scenario as a puzzle rather than a combat engagement. Exactly, Jake said. Every problem has multiple solutions. Your warriors choose the most direct solution because that shows their strength. Humans choose the most effective solution because that gets us home alive. The aliens began murmuring among themselves in their various languages. Elena, could see them struggling to understand this completely different approach to warfare. "But how did you learn to manipulate our technology so quickly?" Admiral Crix asked. "Our systems are far more advanced than anything on your planet," Jake shrugged. "Advanced does not mean complicated. Your computers follow logical rules just like ours do. I watched how your holographic soldiers behaved, figured out the patterns, and used those patterns to fool the system." "You studied our behavior and turned it against us," General Vex said slowly. "That is what humans do," Jake explained. "We watch, we learn, we adapt. We have been doing it for thousands of years. How do you think we survived on a planet full of animals bigger and stronger than us?" Elena decided to add some context. "Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We could not outrun our prey or overpower it with strength. Instead, we learned to outlast it, outthink it, and use tools to give us advantages we did not naturally possess." Ambassador Sila's light grew brighter. "So, when you encountered our superior technology, you automatically looked for ways to turn it to your advantage, right?" Jake said. "Your fortress was very impressive, but it was designed by minds that think in predictable ways. You built it to stop enemies who would attack like you attack, but I do not attack like you attack." Commander Zeth stood up, his crystal form beginning to glow again. "This explains much about human military history. Your species has a pattern of defeating larger, more powerful enemies through unconventional tactics. We call it asymmetric warfare," Elena said. "When you cannot match your enemy's strengths, you find weaknesses they did not know they had." The room fell quiet again as the aliens absorbed this information. They were beginning to understand that they had not just underestimated human capabilities, they had completely misunderstood what human capabilities were. "There is something else we must know," Admiral Crix said carefully. "Was this human specially chosen for his exceptional abilities? Is he among your very best warriors?" Jake and Elena exchanged glances. This was the question they had been waiting for. "Captain Miller is an excellent soldier," Elena said, "but his approach to your test represents standard human military thinking. Any of our special forces operators would have used similar tactics." General Vex's armor rattled as he shifted uncomfortably. "You have thousands of warriors who can think like this?" "Hundreds of thousands," Elena replied. The implications hit the alien council like a physical blow. If one human could neutralize their best defenses so easily, what could an entire army of humans accomplish? Commander Zeth looked directly at Jake. "Human, what would happen if your people faced a real alien invasion force?" Jake considered the question seriously. "That would depend on whether the aliens made the same mistake you made today." "What mistake?" Admiral Crix asked. "Thinking that superior technology guarantees victory," Jake said. "Technology is just a tool. Victory comes from how you use the tools you have." The debriefing room remained silent for a long moment. The 12 alien council members sat in their chairs, processing what they had learned. Everything they thought they knew about warfare had been challenged by one human soldier with basic equipment. Commander Zeth was the first to speak. His crystal form had returned to its normal brightness, but now it pulsed with what looked like excitement rather than arrogance. "We must vote on Earth's membership application immediately." "Agreed," said Admiral Crix, his mandibles clicking in a rhythm that indicated deep thought among his people. "But first, I have a question for the human military officer." Jake looked at the insect-like alien calmly. "Yes, sir? If Earth joins our alliance, would your people be willing to share your tactical knowledge with our forces?" Jake glanced at Elena, who nodded slightly. "That would be up to our leaders, but I think they would be interested in cooperation." General Vex removed his helmet for the first time, revealing a face that looked almost human except for the blue skin and silver eyes. "Our warriors have much to learn from your methods. We have relied too heavily on our natural advantages." Ambassador Sila's golden light brightened. "This partnership could benefit all our species. Humans bring strategic thinking we lack, and we offer technology you need." Elena stepped forward. "Earth has always believed that diversity makes us stronger. We would welcome the chance to learn from all of you as well." Commander Zeth activated. The voting system. 12 holographic panels appeared in front of each council member. The question before us is whether to accept Earth as a full member of the Galactic Defense Council. All in favor? One by one, the panels glowed green. Even. Admiral Crix, who had been the most skeptical, voted to approve Earth's membership. The final count was unanimous. 12 votes in favor, 0 against. Welcome to the galactic community, Earth, Commander Zeph announced officially. Your planet is now under the protection of the Galactic Defense Council, and your people have all the rights and responsibilities of membership. Elena felt tears forming in her eyes. This moment represented the dreams of billions of humans who had looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. Now Earth was part of something much bigger than one small planet, but the aliens were not finished with their questions. There is something else we must discuss, General Vex said seriously. Our intelligence reports indicate that the darkness is moving again in the Outer Rim territories. Jake and Elena had heard whispers about the darkness during their journey to the station. It was some kind of enemy that the Galactic Defense Council had been fighting for centuries. The aliens rarely spoke about it directly, but their fear was obvious whenever the topic came up. What is the darkness? Elena asked. Commander Zeth's crystal form dimmed slightly. An enemy unlike any we have faced before. They consume entire star systems, leaving nothing behind. Our conventional military tactics have proven ineffective against them. Admiral Crix made a sound like grinding gears. We have lost 17 worlds in the past year. Our most powerful weapons barely slow them down. Our strongest warriors cannot defeat them in direct combat. Jake felt a familiar feeling in his stomach. It was the same sensation he got before every dangerous mission. Sounds like you need a different approach. Exactly, Ambassador Sila said. This is why your demonstration today was so important. We need warriors who think differently, who can find solutions we cannot see. Elena understood immediately. You want human military advisors? More than that, General Vex said. We want to completely rebuild our military doctrine using human tactical principles. Teach our warriors to think like your Captain Miller thinks. Jake looked around the room at all the alien faces watching him expectantly. These beings had technology that could destroy planets, but they were asking humans for help because technology alone was not enough. It will not be easy, Jake warned them. Human tactics work because of how humans think. Your people will need to change their entire approach to warfare. We are willing to learn, Commander Zeth said firmly. The survival of our civilizations may depend on it. Over the following weeks, Jake worked with alien military instructors to develop new training programs. Human soldiers arrived from Earth to teach unconventional warfare techniques. The aliens struggled at first with concepts like stealth, misdirection, and asymmetric tactics, but they learned quickly. Elena established diplomatic relations between Earth and dozens of alien worlds. Humans gained access to advanced technology, while aliens learned human sciences like psychology, anthropology, and strategic planning. The first test of these new tactics came 6 months later when the darkness attacked a mining colony in the Rigel system. Instead of meeting the enemy with massive fleets and powerful weapons, the Galactic Defense Council used human-inspired strategies. Small teams infiltrated darkness positions. Attacks came from unexpected directions. Technology was used creatively rather than just for raw firepower. For the first time in decades, the aliens won a decisive victory against their ancient enemy. Jake received a message from Admiral Crix after the battle. The darkness retreated when they realized they could not predict our actions. Your people have given us something we lost long ago, the element of surprise. Standing on the observation deck of the space station, Elena watched Earth rotating slowly in the distance. The small blue planet looked so peaceful from here, but she knew it was now part of a galaxy-wide war against an enemy that consumed worlds. She felt a hand on her shoulder. Jake joined her at the window, looking tired but satisfied. Do you think we made the right choice? Elena asked. Getting involved in their war? Jake smiled. Doc, humans have always been fighters. The only difference now is that we are fighting for more than just Earth. We are fighting for everyone." Elena nodded. The aliens thought they were testing our worthiness to join them. Instead, they discovered they needed us as much as we needed them. "That is what makes good allies," Jake said. "Everyone brings something different to the fight." As Earth continued its ancient rotation, the galaxy had learned its first lesson about humanity. Never underestimate a species that turns every disadvantage into an advantage. The war against the darkness was far from over, but for the first time in centuries, the civilized worlds had hope, and that hope had a name: human ingenuity.